All right, hello everybody. I hope you guys are doing all right. So this is the practice quiz that we did, and I believe that you guys still have this. I looked through my stuff. I didn't find a whole stack of them, so I believe you should still have them, and then we were going to go over them today. So what I'm going to do is I am going to explain each problem and grade it as we go. So that you guys can practice and see what you need to improve on. Okay, so the first one says find the sum of the arithmetic series 17 plus 27 plus 37 all the way out to 417. So first, I think it would be best to solve for a common difference. So if I take 27, subtract 17, clearly I get 10. We see the same thing is true for 37. So this means our common difference is going to be 10. Okay. Then it would be nice to know how many terms are in this series. So I'm going to take 417, set it equal to my first term, which is 17, plus n minus 1 times my common difference. Oops, I should just write 10. Sorry. Okay. And now I can solve for n, which will tell me how many terms are between 17 and 417. So I'll end up with 400 equals 10n minus 10. Add 10 to both sides to get 410 is equal to 10n. Then dividing by 10, you should get that n is equal to 41. Okay, so we now know that there are 41 terms in this series. And the goal was to find the sum of that arithmetic series. What it's asking is the sum of specifically these terms. So this means we're looking for the sum of the first 41 terms. So we're going to have 41 over 2 times 17 plus 417. And we can do this because we have the first and the last term. And that should be equal to 41 over 2 times 434. And then you should get 8,897. Okay, so that would be your final answer right there. And let's see, this whole thing is a total of 4 marks. So I would give you 1 mark for this answer, finding the common difference. 1 mark for finding this answer, the number of terms. 1 mark for the final answer, and then 1 method point for using that sum formula. You could have used the other formula if you preferred. Either one will give you a point. So that's the total of 4 marks that you would get for that problem. Okay, we'll move on to number 2. And if you have questions, write on the discussion board for today, and I'll try to answer your questions for next class. Okay, so in number 2, it says in an arithmetic sequence, the first term is -2, and the fourth term is 16. I'm just going to go ahead and write out what we know. So U1 is -2, and U4 is 16, and the sum of the first n terms is 308. So first, oh, that's not 308. I'm very sorry. 308. Also, if you get bored, feel free to jump ahead in the video. Not a big okay, so then in part A, it says find the common difference D. So I can find the common difference because I know that I have my fourth term and then my first term. And guys, this is the thing where you guys would be like, can I just subtract them and then divide by the number of terms that I would have right here? Technically, yes, that works, but I want to see you do it in the formula, which is really what you're doing when you do that. So we would have 16 equals -2 plus 4 minus 1 times D. Also, you guys are getting really confused with whether you should use 3 or 4 to divide by, and I would prefer if you guys just use the formula. It'll guarantee that you get the right answer. So we would add 2 to both sides to get 18. Then we'd have 3D. And so then when we divide by 3 on both sides, we should get that D is equal to 6. Okay? So that's the first one. Then in part B, it says to find the value of n. So now that we have the common difference and we have the sum of the first n terms, we can set the sum of our first n terms equal to the formula for the summation. So we have n over 2 times u1 plus n minus 1 times 6, which is my common difference. Now I only have n in my formula, so I can go ahead and simplify. So this is going to end up being -4, and this is 6. And you're going to end up dividing both of those numbers by 2. And so I'm going to jump ahead since we don't have a lot of space, and I'm going to skip that step. If you get confused, you can write out all the little steps and see if that helps. If you're still confused, I'm making so many mistakes. If you're still confused, post on the discussion board and I will do it out on lined paper for you. Okay, so we would have this. And then let's see here. What would we do? So this 3 gets distributed to both the n and the -1. So this means that we would just have n right here, and then this would end up being -3, so n minus 3. And then that's still equal to 308. And then we would add 3 to both sides, giving us that n is equal to 311. Okay, all right, so now let's talk about the marks for this. We would have probably about 2 marks for this whole thing, 1 for this answer, 1 for the method of setting it up, in that formula. So this is important, do that. And then the last 4 would probably be all right here. So you would have 1 for your setup right here. Definitely 1 for your answer. And then 1 for your solving. Oh, that's only 3 marks. Maybe there would be, so +1 here for solving. 3 marks per problem. Okay, so 3 marks for A, 3 marks for B, total of 6 marks. Okay, because both of those are pretty simple formulas once you get them down. Okay, so that's number 2. Whew. All right, number 3, find a geometric sequence that has a third term 20. So U3, notice that when we're talking about sequences, we use U. When we're talking about series, we use S. So U3 is 20. U8 is 640. Okay. It asks first to find the common ratio. So let's see. We don't have our first term, right? But we do know that U sub 8 should be equal to U sub 3 times R to the 5th power. Okay, because there are going to be 5 terms in between the 3rd and the 8th term. So this means that 640 should be equal to 20 times R to the 5th. When we divide both sides by 20, we should get that 32 is equal to R to the 5th. And we all know that when you take the 5th root of both sides, you should get that R is equal to 2. Yay. Okay, part B said find the first term U1. So now we have R, which is super convenient. And we can say that, let's say 20 is our third term, should be equal to U1 times 2, our ratio, to the 3 minus 1 power. Okay, so this means that I'm going to have that 20 is equal to U1 times 4. And when we divide by 4 on both sides, we should get that U1 is equal to 5. Okay. Then it says, hence find the sum of the first 10 terms. So the sum of my first 10 terms is equal to my u1, which is 5, times 2 to the 10th minus 1, all over 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 is 1, so that's just going to be our denominator. And then I'm going to have 5, and if you do 2 to the 10th minus 1 on your calculator, you should get 1023. So this should give us 5, 11, 15, or I'm sorry, 51, 15, I guess, over 1, which is just 51, 15. But there we go. Okay, so you have a total of 6 marks for this whole thing. You would probably get 1 answer and 1 method point for each problem. So +1 for your answer here, +1 for your method, your setup, +1 for your answer, +1 for your method, +1 for your answer, +1 for your method. And each of those method points is your setup, creating a formula to solve. Okay, we're going to pause for a minute before I'm going to make a separate video for the back so that this video just doesn't get too long. I'll be right back.